Testing. Testing. Come in, Blue Leader. Hello. My name's Aaron Lucas. Welcome to Aaron Lucas Guitars. Today I wanted to kind of talk about soundboards and sustainability and what pushed me into kind of where I'm trying to go. If you follow on social media Aaron Lucas Guitars, you'll have seen a Sinker Cypress guitar, and behind me I have some Sinker Cypress. Why Sinker Cypress, and what am I doing with this Engelmann spruce next to me? As general manager of Sawmill, we had a river reclamation program, and this will give a little info, a little background about Sinker Cypress. One day I'm standing in the warehouse, hot, staring at a gigantic slab of Sinker Cypress, and all I can see is guitar tops. And from there forward it snowballed with research, trying to determine is cypress even viable? Why has cypress never been used? I found two people. A guy in North Carolina has made a few acoustic guitars, and there's a guy in Florida who does cigar box guitars. Other than that, why hasn't, it's gorgeous. Cypress is absolutely beautiful. Everybody who sees it loves cypress. Why hasn't it been used? So that sent me down the rabbit hole of figuring out some of the history past what I already knew regarding the Sinker Cypress. But 1905, most of the old growth forests were gone. Around World War II, when the American guitar manufacturers were looking to switch species because they had pretty much logged out the Adirondack or red spruce, the cypress forests had been gone for half a century. It's completely understandable that this would not have been sought after. Outside of that, a lot of the makers that got the American steel string guitar industry going were old world makers who had learned everything from master luthiers in the old world. With tradition comes constraints and kind of a desire to not jump too far out of the box. And so some jumping from spruce to cypress, probably never dawned on them in the late 1800s, just because they wouldn't only spruce. This is what you have to use to make a wonderful instrument. So I've been doing a lot of legwork. I've been reaching out around the country and around the world to people for input, thoughts, viability, and for me, I'm very lucky that I was able to get a wide range of samples to then dig through and work to parameters from respected luthiers of what they expect out of their tonewoods and out of their soundboards, to find a happy range to then start diving into more. Behind me I've got the 2,000-year-old, and then about 500-year-old, and then an axe cut 120, 140-year-old, and then just some super dense grain. This is 60 rings an inch, somewhere around there. And then here is Engelmann spruce matched sets or sequence cut, and then an example of some of the Engelmann from this tree. I reached out to Mr. Samaji, not really understanding what I was doing when I reached out to him, and sent samples, and per him he thought that the old cypress reminded him most of Engelmann spruce. So trying to introduce a new species when I was not educated in what a normal Engelmann or Sitka or Alpine or whatever Adirondack spruces are supposed to do, I wanted to go off of his suggestion, which was to build a lot with Engelmann spruce, which is my Finding My Voice series. Build a lot with Engelmann spruce to then be able to determine what I want and to know what I want the Sinker Cypress to sound like and do. So here is an example of some of the sets. I was very lucky with the Engelmann to find someone who had been taking standing dead timber for a few decades and sawing it up and splitting it, and then long-term air dry. So I was lucky to get a huge amount of old stock that's 20 to 30-year-old Engelmann spruce to work from, to train myself, and then jump over into the Cypress guitars. So that's kind of how I got to where I'm at. Suggestions. The plan for Aaron Lucas Guitars is Sinker Cypress guitars. Now I do have an array of other materials, other top woods, but the main focus is trying to get another wood, known to the luthier community. That, hey, here's another species, here's something else that gives us a whole nother, dynamic range that we're not used to, that we don't know about, to continue making these beautiful, multi-generational instruments. So I think that can kind of wrap it up, and I'll do another one here in a couple days, and hope everybody's well. Take care.